It's weird how you think when you're in the midst of it that it's never going to happen.
Go, 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 go.
My art's boundary.
That was fun. Hello, I'm Margaret.
And I'm Russ.
And we're with Michaela.
Join our adventure to save Africa's wildlife.
It all began quite suddenly, without warning, and turned into quite the Land Rover stuck in Tanzania adventure. The entire saga took 14 days. Yes, it was all of 2 weeks later that we finally are back on the road.
I don't think we've ever been quite so happy to be on the road yet.
It all started when driving the back road from Zingadi to Dodoma. Our Land Rover's back right shock failed and took out a fuel connector. After 4 nights and 3 days camped in front of Saif's house and mechanic shop, we're back on the road. However, all is not well. Our new fuel pump is screaming. Somehow it's still sucking air. But the Landy is otherwise running fine, with the welded and soldered repairs holding well. On the road to Dodoma, I reach out to Anton, a Facebook friend and Landy enthusiast. He checks in with his Landy expert. He advises us not to go too far. The fuel pump is obviously under stress and could go out. After 3 hours, we make it to Dodoma.
Well, the final fix hopefully for Landy tomorrow. We decided to stay here. We got us a room for almost as cheap as camping. And we're in this nice secluded little parking lot in the middle of Dodoma, capital of Tanzania. And we're cooking, and it's Sunday. We're going to have our good time. Yes, sir.
On Monday morning, Russ reaches out to John, a parts dealer in Nairobi. He also calls Mike, our mechanic in South Africa, for advice. Then it's off to the mechanic shop. The team of mechanics jump on the Landy and start fiddling. Russ asks about parts. Maybe the connector Saif fixed is sucking air and should be replaced. No parts available in the shop or in Dodoma. Doesn't surprise me. This huge building, in need of repair, is pretty empty. No machines, few tools, and no parts. The mechanics fiddle. They have no success in calming the screaming fuel pump.
I have fruit.
Ah, that's the best smile I've seen all day.
It's time to search for parts.
He said he could get the parts in about a week. Options are to wait, to drive to Dar es Salaam, or trust that it's going to get us all the way to Lusaka. We can go to Arusha. Arusha might be closer,
But
but they may or may not have it either. They may have to.
Well, Dar es Salaam, we don't know if it has it. They might have to order it still, too.
He said they can order it from Dar es Salaam.
Okay.
So there's a parts house in Dar es Salaam. We could go back to Arusha, or maybe to Nairobi. I don't know if that's any closer, but we'd have to do the border thing.
It's now Tuesday. The right parts are finally tracked down, ordered, and paid for. They should be shipped tomorrow. Definitely not as easy as buying from Amazon. Our little hotel room for $17 is adequate. After we got rid of the bed bugs, they tried to fix the leaky toilet. No luck. Then the sink plugs up. However, there is hot water for the shower, sometimes. On the bright side, phone signal is good, so we have internet access to get much Michaela work done. There is an old soccer field next door we can walk around each morning, and we do find a restaurant with okay food in town. The hotel got after us for cooking in the parking lot. Friday rolls around. Our packet has made it to Dar es Salaam. Maybe it'll get here early. Friday night, Russ gets a fever. Oh no, is it malaria? Could it be dengue or yellow fever? I grab a malaria test kit out of the Landy. We wait the 20 minutes for the results. Negative. Great. I revisit the dengue and yellow fever symptoms. As long as his fever doesn't spike, it might just be a virus or something like that. On Saturday, our package is still in customs. On Monday, we find our duty needs to be paid. Russ calls DHL. They'll pay it. We'll pay them when the package arrives in Dodoma. Russ is okay during the day, but the fever returns again at night. Tuesday. Russ is getting over whatever it is he had. No action on the tracking program. Russ talks to DHL Dar es Salaam. Direct to DHL agent in Dodoma. Russ calls and calls. No luck reaching local agent. Russ spends much of the day calling, talking to different reps in Dar. No luck finding our package's whereabouts. Great, that's all we need. We've been sitting here for over a week already, and now our package is lost. Wednesday. Russ begins the calling again. This time he gets a different agent in Dar. He says he'll get a hold of the Dodoma agent and get back with us. Russ gives the hotel phone number. Can't call back on Skype. For the first time, someone actually offers to get to the bottom of this. About an hour later, there's a knock at the door.
Do you have a box?
Within the hour, with the mechanic getting them installed. Within the hour, the new connector is installed. And what? The fuel pump begins to scream again. Russ gives the mechanic the new fuel line he bought just in case it was cracked and sucking air. Again, the fuel pump screams on. We've done all we can. We decide we'll head south anyway. Russ calls Mike in South Africa. He thinks we should make it to the Land Rover shop in Zambia. Thursday, 2 weeks after Saif fixed our connector and shock. It seems like forever ago. On our morning walk, Russ says we have one last thing to try. Run surgical tubing from the system directly into the fuel tank. Off we go to the mechanic shop one more time.
Last-ditch effort.
They're surprised to see us. Russ pulls out the tubing. He pulls out the schematic. The mechanics start chatting among themselves. Just do as I ask, Russ thinks. One goes to the fuel filter, another to the front. They do a few things, turn her on, and she springs to life. Quiet. No screaming fuel pump. The smiles are huge. We're elated. Russ, with this look of total confusion, asks, "What did you do?" Come to find out, we could have been on the road over a week ago. We could have been on the road right after Saif and the mechanic got her started back in Kwamtoro. What? 2 of the fuel hoses had inadvertently been switched. Oddly enough, despite the wait, despite the money spent, we're okay. For some reason, it simply had to be part of the experience. Maybe we learned that when the worst happens, it's bad, but never as bad as we think. Maybe we learned that there are helpful, albeit imperfect, people everywhere. Most of all, we learned how much we love our life on the road in our landy, and how blessed we are. Hooray! We're heading south without the worry of a failing fuel pump. We wave goodbye to the team of mechanics. They're all smiles. Goodbye, Dodoma.
Come along, join us. Join the adventure. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Killer Wildlife.